Hi guys. So this is gonna be three parts, okay? The first part is gonna be me explaining the hardware stuff. Next part will be me explaining the actual software. Third part will be showing you how everything works on the Stream Deck, so the Stream Deck stuff, so I'm getting to hardware stuff now. So basically, here is some stuff right here. So right here is a camera I have pointing behind me to a specific location. These smart plugs, I have a whole bunch of these smart plugs. One smart plug is for turning on this guy. This one is for turning on the camera. This guy hooks up two things. It hooks up this the fans that are in there, and the fan that's here. This fan keeps my docking station cool. There's a docking station that I have connected to this Mac that has microphone, capture card, and then Stream Deck hooked to there. This Mac is my workstation Mac, and it is a 16 gigs RAM. That's about it. But it does most of my workstation needs. Going back over here, there's these cables going over there into here. So there's a Mac that's here. This is my M1 Mac Mini. It has my ATEMs, a docking station, and then Stream Deck Mini, Stream Deck XL, and the Stream Deck Plus. The Stream Deck MK2. The MK2 is right here. It just does audio control and TV control and Apple TV control, and to start recording when I'm doing Mashable stuff on my TV. This Stream Deck is for doing unboxing stuff right here, which has a camera. It's connected to that camera connected to here, and it does switches to there, and I'll go over more hard software stuff there. This microphone is connected to my Wave XLR with a preamp. The Wave XLR is connected to the preamp. The mic connected to the preamp. This one is specifically for this location. It has a physical mute button, so I can mute it here instead of using Wavelink to mute it, and basically using StreamYard. So I can have a physical mute switch. This camera is pointing here, so when I'm doing unboxings for like cards or other stuff, you can see the unboxing stuff right here down, and you can see my picture here. This microphone, which is the same microphone as the one that's there, it is a pod mic, and it has the same physical mute switch and and the cable going to my preamp. There was a pole right here that I had for putting the Stream Decks on that I don't use anymore because I got rid of the Stream Deck Plus and the Stream Deck MK2, but the Stream Deck MK2 is right there. So these smart plugs here does other functions. I'll go over those when we get there. This one right here is connected to this light. These ones are connected to light, fan, and monitor. This one here these two are connected to the ATEMs, which are my capture cards I have. And basically, there's a HDMI, Ethernet switch, one for going to each TV, and then one going to just a spare Ethernet that I'm going to use for a streaming box, probably like an Apple TV or something. I'm not for sure. Something I can just do casting to for my phone, and it's being hooked up to the HDMI cable, which is hooked up to another device on the other side of the room. Over here is where I have another capture card, and the other capture card is below my desk, but it's basically just hooks up around here to over here, so I can capture stuff on here on my Mac Mini. if I need to capture my recording setup, I can. Which is what's going to be showing you in the software portion. So, these HMI splitters strip HDCP, and I have one there for basically just extending the amount of monitors I have here. This one's for stripping HDCP on my Apple TV. This one's for stripping HDCP on my Macs because of you can't record a Mac on the ATEM without black screen, so you have to put some kind of HDCP stripper on there, or you have to have a switcher device that can do HDCP. There's 3 UPSs. This UPS is basically for some other stuff. These are the only things that I'm waiting to upgrade because of these are 3 different ones, and I could possibly convert them into 2. One of these are going to the other side of the room over here. 2 of them are being plugged in over here. With smart plugs on them. If I got a longer power strip, like for example one that doesn't need a UPS, I could probably just put them all on the power strip and put it on there just for that go horizontally, and I could just put them on here and just put it there, and I have 2 UPSs for each of them. And here is a keyboard I have just for using with my Apple TV or my computer if I need to. DualSense controller for playing games on the TV. This is a new LG U007 TV from my that I just got recently. Right there is a custom Moki Moki. It has a hat instead of a question mark. Well, there's a question mark on the hat, which is really nice. I had a monitor above here where Moki Moki was sitting, but I rearranged that. Behind here is my gaming computer that has a Wave XLR mic on the back of there, just so I can have access to Wavelink. But that's going to get unplugged because there's no Stream Deck hooked up to here anymore. So it's pretty much doing nothing right now. Here is my monitor that I had up here, right here. It was, so I have it here, so I used to have a monitor over here above my 32-inch monitor that I had here. And it was above my drawing tablet, but I have it here, so instead of me having a monitor there and one over there, I just have it here, so I can see it from where I sit and from over here if I need to view OBS. Going over here is my 2 lights that I have here, and my camera has been moved down on top of the new monitor. The new monitor I have is a 42-inch TV. That was my other TV that I had here. This one replaced that one. That one was new, and this replaced my monitor. And now, going back over here, here's my drawing tablet that I have on the monitor arm. That my monitor that was above where the drawing tablet was at on another monitor arm, which was right over here, was right here. That one was up there. I got rid of a Stream Deck Plus that was here, and then I put the Stream Deck XL here. And then the reason why the mat looks like this is because I had the Stream Deck here, and it just like to slide on my type of mat. So this is why I used to have Stream Deck set. And I had Stream Deck here because the stand was actually there, but since all that got moved, the mat has been basically needs to be replaced, which it will eventually, but it's not necessary because I'll only use this part of the mat for my mouse and this part for my keyboard. My Logitech keyboard, this is my Stream Deck XL that I use for instead of using a Stream Deck Plus and a Stream Deck Enco 2 and a Stream Deck Plus again. So this is because this and the Stream. So I had connected to my Mac Mini recording computer, which was a Stream Deck XL, a Stream Deck Stream Deck Mini, Stream Deck Plus, and a Stream Deck Plus, and Stream Deck MK2. So I removed all of those except for the Stream Deck Mini and the Stream Deck MK2, and then the Stream Deck XL. So I'll only have 3 on there instead of 5. And then the Stream Deck Plus that I had hooked up to my game computer was basically is now being hooked up to the Mac that I originally showed you behind my green screen. So this one allows me to control the stuff on my Mac Mini that I use for workstation purposes, and just my daily driver for desktop. And then over here is the other mute switch, but this one is an AT2040 microphone that I use for my daily driving stuff. This guy is hooked. This camera's hooked up to an HDMI splitter. So the camera's hooked to the input port of the splitter, and the splitter is then the output is hooked to the camera over there that's behind there, and then to my ATEM, so I can basically just get the same video. And if I don't need the ATEM on and I need to basically capture, I can just have it go into that capture card that's over there. And then I also have it so if I need to basically just do some Zoom calls, I can just load in that capture card and with this one. And this microphone is hooked into my recording computer. But this microphone here is used for my daily driving. And what I want to do is find some kind. I want to get a splitter, for example, like the one I have behind here, which is my preamp. I want to get another one of those preamps, and then instead of me using the preamp, instead of me sending the preamp to actually this microphone, to actually the Wave XLR there, it gets sent through another preamp. That preamp sends it to that preamp, which sends it to the Wave XLR. So, and if I need to, I can then switch between send that preamp audio to also to a audio interface, a different audio interface that's not Wavelink, but basically something like a, I don't know, probably like a, I don't know which one I would use at the moment, but it would just be a one-port one that I could send to here. So to have it going in there, probably a Wave XLR probably would be actually better, since I could have control with that. And then just have them both be Wave XLRs. And then, but that's the only piece of hardware that would actually change, is replacing this with a Wave XLR and getting another preamp for this guy, so I can basically just use the same microphone for everything. Because this one is a nice microphone, but it's kind of annoying when trying to talk to the microphone. Is I have to literally throw my voice to that direction versus just talking to the microphone. That would be right there. So, other than that, that's pretty much all the hardware changes. I have these are smart switches I use. They're basically power strips. One's hooked to over here, one's hooked up over there, so I can just get all of the power there. This guy, which is just here just for if I need to plug in a USB device that is being used, that needs to be charged specifically, or turned on, like a phone that needs to be charged. This can provide enough power to actually that, and it has an on and off switch. So, and that's hooked up to my USB port on my power strip. These guys are. This is a power plug for a HDMI. What's that thing called? HDMI splitter, multi-view splitter. That has a what's that thing called? It has a that thing is called a smart IR blaster. That's hooked up to it, so that allow it to control it behind there also. And then I also have that connected to an HDMI splitter that strips HDCP. So this goes into my matrix that I have. The matrix, this goes into the first port of my matrix, and then the input of the actual, because output of the matrix goes to my the output of the matrix goes to my over there. I mean, the output of the splitter goes to the input of my matrix on input number 1. And then the output of here also goes to this TV on input number 2. And then the other output goes to a capture card. And so the input goes to the matrix, the multi-view, which is behind there. Multi-view port 1 goes to my MacBook that I have for basically, it's my portable computer, but instead of having, and I was going to replace this with a docking station, because right now I have a USB cable going here, and then a HDMI, which is using up both Thunderbolt ports. So what I was going to do was get another one of those docking stations like I showed you, just have a single cable go here. And so I'm going to basically make so I can just unplug one cable, plug it in, and this is my portable computer, but I also use it docked. And so this allows me to, instead of having the this cable come out like this, which is my charger, I can have a portable charger again, and I can just have it hooked up to a docking station. So, and the only other thing that's getting replaced is this guy, which is my Echo Dot. My Echo Studio. I was using for like music for the longest, but now I just use it for just turning stuff on and not really listening to it and telling time. So I was replacing it with an Echo Show that's going to go right here. So I can just so I can still have time and also still tell the Echo to like turn on and off stuff. And then as you can see, there's smart plugs everywhere. This smart plug is a smart plug that's just turning stuff on, but I'll go into that inside the video. There's more smart plugs. Also, behind there on the power strip, there is enough. There's one Tapao, there's 4 Tapaos, and the rest are Kasa smart plugs. And then if you notice, there's a lot of cables because one, I can only get a certain length of cables and without going fiber, and I really wasn't really in the mood to replace all the cables with like fiber because right now, like there's HDMI, USB, the USB stuff that's actually would need to be actually fiber would at least need to be like around 25 USB cables that would be fiber. Problem is, so longer than 50 foot for like fiber USB is like about $200. So that'll be 200 times 14 cables at least. Then there's also HDMI, which is about $60 per HDMI. There's about 14 different HDMI cables here. Some of them can be shorter, but the shorter ones, for example, like from here to down there could be short. From here to the other side of the room have to be long. From this TV to there would have to be long because that's a 30-foot cable that's on there. It goes around here to back there. then there would need to be longer power cables in some cases. Some cases it needs to be shorter. Uh, so there's that. And then better lights, because these ones are okay for like what I'm using them for, but like the actual how they actually are mounted needs to be a little bit better because they're kind of crappy ones I got on Amazon. For other hardware stuff, this is my MIDI controller that I use for music production, and I use it. I have it just sitting here, but when I need it, I replace it with my keyboard and move my keyboard to the side. Also, if I just need it and I don't want to have the TV on, I can just turn on this monitor, which is hooked up to the same input on my matrix for the TVs, because as you can see, it's the same. And then, if I need to, charge a device like my keyboard and mouse. I plug this into here or into here, and this is connected to my TV's USB port. And give me a second. So yeah, I just accidentally logged out of my computer by accident. So this would be how I'm have it set up. So for now, with this one plugged in here, it would turn on when this turns on. When this device turns on, it turns on this and this, because it turns on a MacBook automatically if it's plugged in, as long as it's an M1 series or newer. It turns on automatically. So if I had a docking station and the docking station turned on and the cable was plugged in, the Mac would turn on automatically. Same if the power cable is plugged in. So so that would basically make it so I just have to have one cable plugged into my Mac versus one cable versus versus two, because this cable is plugged in, which is for my cable that goes over here, which goes onto there, and then this goes to my USB matrix, so I can have keyboard and mouse control on that computer. I mean, on this computer, since the matrix is only being used for keyboard and mouse at the moment, nothing else. And so, yeah, that's the hardware. Not much hardware has been changed, but that's just the original tour stuff. Other than that, I'll go to the next part, which is the software. So today is the next part. So let me just show you. So basically, um, this is where the magic happens for most of my software related stuff. So basically, code server is where Mysterio code server is where I edited my YAML at on my home assistant stuff. So this is how I control most of my stuff. So I'm not gonna go into here because of this is where most of my links are at that are needed for basically controlling the stuff at like home assistant through basically here. So I also have IR blasters, but the IR blasters are also in here. So let me go to my uh, here. So if we go here, so if we go to automations and themes, actually we'll go to not here first. So we go to devices and services. So devices and services is stuff we have like stuff. These are the RESTful commands I have. You need to use RESTful commands in order to get most of the stuff working. To control my TV volume and input, I use the web TV OS plug-in for Home Assistant for mobile apps. You can if you have Home Assistant installed on your mobile phone and you have port forwarded it, you could basically have access to Home Assistant inside of on your phone from everywhere. I'm using the Has agent, which is hacks, which is allowing you to run stuff like spooks, which allows you to clean up your YAML and tell you if you need to fix anything. You can even have it link up your computers if you want to, but I don't do that. I use smart plugs to turn it on and stuff like that, and I use another software in combination with that. I'll show you that afterwards. I have my Apple TV hooked up to like this, and I also have my other thing hooked up like this. So my Broadlink, and you can even emulate Roku, but I don't have a Roku hooked up to it at the moment, but it's there. Um, and there's Thread, ATTP links, smart home devices. I just use them because they're they're the cheapest and easiest to like use. I also have Entity Notes, which is something you can basically leave notes for like entities for. That's basically the main stuff you want to like know about. So going back to my here's the stuff I have. So I have Main Start, which is Main Start is a plugin I have that is when top four, which is the name of a smart plug I have. Like got smart plugs all in this room. That one, when top four turns on, it will turn off unlimited disk and unlimited. It will turn off the automation, and this says the delay on, the delay for a second, and then it does top two, which is another smart plug. This one is a Tapao device. All of them that are named Top or Tapao. Then this one is more of the fact that this one will basically just start the recording of inside of OBS, and it will basically allow me to switch. It's not finished right now because of it. I had to reset it up from scratch, but what it will do is it will when you press start when when this device turns on. That's why it's disabled because it's something I've been working on. When this turns on, it will turn this off, both of them off, and it will turn this on, which will tell you, which will basically, which will keep this off. Because I noticed when I was actually using this and I pressed restart, when I said a certain person that starts with an A to restart, it would restart this device and re-enable it. Because I was using a monitor that didn't turn on properly. Well, it turned on properly, but it basically showed a white screen and that needed to be restarted. So it has something to do with like a display timer that I called Samsung about it. That's why I wanted to replace it with a bigger TV, and now I don't have that issue anymore. But I have it just in case of if I need to. I have it here just for another case of when just trying to turn on a display, this display that I'm on right now without triggering everything else to like turn on. But that was basically because this was the status up fresh that it'll also switch to the specific camera I have at my desk in front of me and also the camera behind me and a camera above me. And so when I basically go to main stop, it will turn on restart, but restart is a totally different thing now. Restart does some other stuff, um, which would it takes 30 seconds to turn it off. Switch to cam one, and which is the camera above my monitor, and then it will stop the recording, and then that's it. And it will turn off the top and turn on unlimited desk and um, automation. So, other than that, the Apple TV one, which is for every 5 minutes of every hour, if like this guy is on, EMI is on, and Cap 1 is on, and Cap 2 is on, which are the name of smart plugs, smart switch on the main smart plug on the power strip. So if those are on, it will then switch HDMI-O, which is an HDMI input on my HDMI matrix, to input number 2.4, which is input number 2. Output number 2, input number 4. Input number 4 happens to be my Apple TV, and output number 2 equals my TV at in front of my bed. Output number 1, which is the TV on my desk. Output number 2, output number 3 is my my ATEM Mini Pro, and output number 4 is my drawing tablet beside my main TV. Beside my monitor at my desk, and then the four by four is getting replaced with an 8x8 because of A10. I'm planning on putting both A10s onto the matrix as an output, and then have my cameras on one input, and having that sent to my sent to the matrix. So basically, I can then route input not either to ATEM1 or ATEM2, or have both be the same exact thing if necessary. So if I'm trying to do perception, for example, just or basically try to get two camera inputs at one time, or if I'm trying to um, get them both to like show up at once. But that's just for that one. And then Apple TV on is it's pretty much the same as the as Start, but basically I've remade these ones recently, and mostly they're not done yet. And I was doing this like the other day, but top three is the Apple TV. When this turns off the automation, and it waits 500 milliseconds. Turns on top two, waits 500 milliseconds. Turns on HDMI 1.4, which is the TV and Apple TV. Waits 1 second. Um, waits goes to source two, which is an automation, which is a script I have that basically would switch inputs, which would switch camera and my screen one, which is the HMI two. Which is source two, which is my Apple, which is my Matrix and my ATEM input, and also other stuff. Then there's Apple TV 0.4 underscore Apple TV, which is a holding page for the Apple TV. And then it also is the scene for Apple TV. This is what is using OBS command. And then there's ATEM off, which is basically the same exact thing. So the off ones because I'm not gonna go over them again. Is basically just it turns off top two and turns on unlimited desk. There are some of them like camera switcher, which will have something like turn off hub, which is another smart plug I have. And when this one turns off, it does another automation. So, like for example, camera hub. So hub is the one that is um for example, camera switch. So camera switch is where when hub changes from when the state of hub changes from off to on. From off to on, it will then do a repeat action. It will work a repeat action of cam one, wait 10 seconds, cam 2, 10 seconds, cam 3, 10 seconds, and it will repeat while hub is on. And while hub is on, um, it would basically while it comes on, it will repeat those actions for indefinitely. So, and then when hub is turned off, it would basically just it would then it would then it would then turn off, and it'll do this for 30 seconds until it gets to the final script part and then it'll stop changing. But then if we go to switch this one off, there's no time to wait, so it just waits here. I mean, it'll keep those thing until it's on like the previous scene. So basically, from there, before I get to the other ones, because the cam one, I mean the cam switch on and off is the same thing, pretty much same thing. They all are pretty much the same. For draw on, draw off, uh, national desk on, and play on and off is the only different one. So these are the two different ones, but I'll get to like that after I get towards these. Monitor on and monitor off, and TV on and TV off are the same as the other ones. Um, so is um VMware on and off, but they will only be on and off if I mean they're basically ending it, which is just turns off top two, turns off turns on unlimited disk. But the only different ones are these quick mon off or quick monitor off, which is if the device switch turns off, it would basically if if computer if when like when switch comp turns off, which is a boot lean, when this one turns off, it would basically turn off back cam, turn off wait 500 milliseconds, turn off MacBook, wait 500 milliseconds, turn off USB, wait 500 milliseconds, turn off display, wait 500 milliseconds, and it turns on unlimited desk and unlimited desk off, which are on and off, which is basically just their automations. Now, if we go to quick on, it basically does the exact opposite. It turns it off, and it waits 500, display on, waits 500, USB on, 500, MacBook on, 500, and then it turns on Backcam, which turns on my adapter that's behind the TV. And why this turns off is if this wasn't enabled and I just say turn on display, it turns on everything in the room, including my other monitors, and it turns on my monitor, my TV, and my actual capture card, and also turns on my desk lights and stuff. So, if I'm trying to do like some work that doesn't involve like um light or anything, I basically just use that one. I have one called Daily On. So this one is if I'm just daily driving the actual stuff, and I just need to like do some like computer work that doesn't involve turning everything else on. It turns on light. It turns off unlimited desk, and then it turns on top two. Top two is um top two is a I think I'm top two turns on. Oh yeah, top two turns on the other thing I don't remember the specific name of right now. Uh, it was I don't remember right offhand. It was the I told you already, but I don't remember because I've been speaking too much. But basically, top one is the actual audio interface. Top two is don't remember offhand. I was just talking about it, but then it turns on all of this stuff like camera, the fan, the MacBook. Let's see. Turns on my gaming computer. The face camera. What was I? Oh yeah. So my bad. I know why. I know I just slipped my brain. So top two is the one that when like this one turns on, this one stays off. If I say restart it, if I say restart anything, this would stay off because what it does, it just keeps it off. It checks every 5 seconds to like turn it off. That's why I couldn't remember because it just slipped my mind. So go back here is display. When this one is off, this can just be freely turned on. Like the display can be turned on and off without affecting anything. TV. So TV is a different one. So TV is when TV turns on, it turns on my HDMI device, which is my smart plug. I mean, which is my matrix. And also it turns on it turns on it switches the TV to 2.4 so I can have, I mean, 2.4 on HMIO so I can have just my TV up so I can watch it when I'm doing other stuff. And then um um for server, that's the name of the smart plug my server's on. Cam plug is the name of the plug my camera's on that's above my monitor. And then this one turns on the HDMI matrix. I mean the HDMI multi-view. And USB is the name of my USB matrix. And this one is the name of the input that my Mac is on, which is the Mac I showed you. Mac um, input number. It changes the matrix to input number. I mean, input number 3, output number 1. So to like that computer, which is my gaming, I mean, which is my Mac Mini or um, workstation, and then it also changed the USB matrix to input number 3, and then it also shows you to it does that, and so and De Leon does the exact opposite, turns it off. So so it this one is a little different. So the unlimited power one is pretty much the same exact thing. So when HDMI 2 changes from on to off, I mean from on to off, it will turn off MacBook. It will turn. It will wait a second. It'll turn off command rest command dot master, which is my game computer. Then it will also turn off the um. It will also turn off top one. Wait 1 second. I mean 1 minute, and then it will. And this is if MacBook is off, it will turn off server. And if it's not off, it will wait 1 second and turn off server. And so to make sure it's off, I basically this command only runs this script only runs if the computer's on, and it will turn off if like it is off. And that's why I have it wait a minute here because it usually takes a minute for this computer to shut down. And so unless there's an update, then it shuts down in 1 minute. If there's an update, like I have another automation on here that I won't go over because it goes into a lot of detail unless you really want to see it. The commands basically checks for network activity on my Mac. I mean on my gaming computer. That um if the software isn't running properly. So like if it's still deactivates a script that's running in the background on my gaming computer, still it's running and it's still getting hit by the server, it'll basically say, let me retry shutting down this actual computer again. And it'll keep doing that, and plus it will keep the computer running until it is off. And this is a part of why servers on it will detect if server is basically if actually MacBook is actually off, it would basically say, "Oh, it's okay to shut down, and this will only run if my Mac shuts down," which is my MacBook. How it was, and so now if my MacBook shuts down, this shuts down, and when this shuts down, this shuts down, and when this is down, it moves on to the next one, which is wait a second. Then turns off sound. Sound used to be the name of the smart plug I was using with my ATEMs, but now I'm running them on two separate ATEMs. And so turns off cam plug, and then also turns off USB, turns off HDMI, and turns off. Then it turns off this guy, and then it turns off TV. Even though I could basically modify this to not have HDMI in here because of if it turns off TV, it would just turn everything else off there, and it turns off top two. Then it turns this off, and then it turns off light. So this one can be modified by basically removing HDMI, since if I turn off TV, HDMI would automatically turn off anyway. So if you decide to like do actually that, you don't have to do that. So I have another one which is called Kill Disk. Kill Disk is another one which will repeat. It's basically when top two changes from on and off, and any of these smart plugs are like on. This list has to be updated a bit because if I have to modify it. But when any of these are on, the state is on. Because if you just say have the device from on to off, let's just say you unplug it and plug it back in, or it just goes from like the from like being on, and then you switch it on, switch it off. Like the smart plug would think, oh, it's like it's off, it was turned off. If it goes to unavailable state, then it says, oh, it turned off or turned on. Let me just turn on, and it turns on everything automatically. And so if you're sleeping and you have a whole bunch of stuff tied to like a specific action or smart plug, and once it turns on, you have to literally you would have to turn everything off. So if you make it the state happen, so when state of top two changes from off to on, so it has to be physically go from off to on or on to off, then like the state, the like state actually change. And so that means it's not being relied on unavailable state or available state. And since that happens, it won't trigger your automations, and so you could just plug them in to like you plug them in, and let's just say you lose power, and everything comes back on. Instead of this coming on when like the power comes back on, or basically if the state comes from unavailable back to available, it won't just turn on. It has to be physically turned on. So if you say turn on where, for example, it will turn on where, and this one needs to be removed since it is not a part of that anymore. So also there's a repeat action of an action while two conditions match. Top is on, and it says if any of the six matches, which is couch, HDMI2, which needs to be removed, where computer, and then monitor or run. And so then it will repeat these actions, which is turn off unlimited disk or unlimited disk off. So both of them to off state, and then it will wait 5 seconds, and then we'll repeat this while any of these two things are active. So um that's what kill disk is. It's basically just to like kill desk unlimited disk to make it go off. And then for end, this is a different one. So with end, when restart changes from on to off, so the state you can't put states in like here for some reason unless you're running a um unless you're running it inside of like a repeat action, it doesn't work for some reason. But it will say when this turns from on and off, it turns off hub. Uh, turns off switch plug, and then it turns off, and then it basically runs rational command VMware kill, and then it waits 30 seconds, and then it will run two actual actions in parallel, which is script, which is cam1, and the restful command stock scene, which is basically another thing related in OBS. And I'll show you that inside the software. So this says turned off restart. So it would turn on, do all this stuff, and then turn off. So now going back into here, play on and play off are pretty much like, so it will turn on, it will turn on USB, delay, turn off unlimited power, which is a totally different automation. But this would prevent you. This would unlimited power is a application. It basically turns on it to the Apple TV. And it turns on the HDMI and the TV, and then switch it to the Apple TV input. So wait 2 seconds. Turns on the TV. Wait a second. Turns on HDMI. Wait 8 seconds, and then it turns on a server, which is my gaming computer. Waits a second, and then changes to PC2 underscore TV, which is my input for my matrices. So I change the mouse and keyboard, and then the display to input two, which will be two. I mean two two. Yes, with 2.2, which is my TV and my gaming computer, and then when we go to let's see, where's that? Play off. It will turn off USB. Wait 2 seconds. Turn script PC script. Turn script PC3 TV to basically, which is the input two on my TV to my TV. I mean to my Mac. So if I wanted to, I could basically just have the script cancel if I press a button on my keyboard that I have at my beside my bed. There's a command that can happen that would prevent that from actually finishing the script of just turning off of doing other stuff. So, but it would turn off master. Then it would basically switch it to HDMI 4, so HDMI 2.4, which is my Apple TV. But it would skip this part, but it would basically go on to the next part, which is turn off display, and it would skip this, and it would basically skip turning off unlimited power and HDMI. So, so basically, but what this one does by itself, it switches to input number 3, changes to input number 4 on the Apple TV. So, and then it basically turns off cap 1 if cap 1 and 2 are off, which it would be because I just have I have the smart plug just so I could just so I can have it tied to like server when they turn off. And then that's just that one. So reapply and reapply to it. So reapply was just something different. I just went with that naming scheme. But when Knox turns on, which is a smart plug, and the computer is on, it will then um it will repeat action while Knox is on and any of the condition matches the computer on. It will switch from rest command 13 underscore MD underscore TV underscore full underscore scene. So this one, it goes from full scene to main scene, and this is basically, it does like every 10 seconds. So this is basically for Mashable specifically for when I'm playing on my TV. Then they have one which is called Reapply 2, because I just couldn't think of a different name. This one will basically do when switch plug is on, or when overview is actually when the switch plug is turned on and overview is on, which is another smart plug I have. It will, and the overview is on, it will basically do 14 underscore MD underscore desk underscore full underscore scene. Same with the mini one. So, but this one it says HTC desk. It will be at my desk where I am recording this at right now. It will switch every 10 seconds, and it will have a camera. One will just have my icon there. So now going to unlimited power, so that's the one that's the one that a lot of the stuff references is unlimited power is this one. So when TV changes from on to off, it runs script dot zero dot zero dot one 0.0.0.0.0 dot apple dot underscore TV. And so when it turns on, it does that script. And so then when unlimited power turns off, when like unlimited power turns off, it will turn off script bar, which isn't necessary anymore because of I got rid of sound bar. So it's basically just it will turn off HDMI. That's the whole point of that one now. And so and then unlimited desk, which is probably the longest one that I have script wise, other than underscore unlimited TV. But I'll go over unlimited TV first, since unlimited TV is pretty much the same. So unlimited TV waits a second, turns off of that guy. Waits a second, it turns on. It turns on ATEM, turns on display, turns on cam plug. This one is on. Oh, oh wow. Okay. So this one, yeah, this one is unlimited TV. My bad, miss. This one turns on this, turns off ATEM, turns off display, turns off cam plug, turns off the MacBook, which is my docking station, turns off a green light, which is the name of the lights above my desk, and then it switches to input number two on my TV since the game computer already automatically starts with this. And then it's just that for now, 'cause I have to finish re-adding stuff, but it's basically the stuff for OBS because I was using Ecamm. So I have to redo my recording stuff because how Ecamm was set up. It just did it like that. And then it turns on power. Power is the 8 LED strip that I have in front of my TV. So to show when I physically started recording. And there's another script running on my Mac that um if like OBS doesn't start recording, it will basically just um it will ignore uh, uh power won't turn on, which means I have to basically would have to basically restart the actual script by basically doing another script that will basically rerun everything until it starts, and it will pause at turn on power. And once it does start, power would turn on. If there's ever an issue, it would then restart until power turns on. And then when power turns on, it's officially recording. And then for unlimited TV off, it would basically do the exact opposite. So it would stop the recording, which will be right here, turns off unlimited power. And if it doesn't stop recording, we'll do the same exact thing, but for turning off power. And then it will turn on green light, turn on MacBook, turn on ATEM, turn on cam plug, turn on display, switch the TV to like 2.4 or the Apple TV, switch the computer to PC3, which is my which is my workstation, but at my main TV at my desk, and then it will turn on off the top two, and then it will turn this back on, and then it'll set the script back to like 2.4, just in case just in case it errors out. I have it there just because of it was for redundant purposes, just in case it failed to like execute, which happened occasionally. So going back to unlimited disk. Unlimited disk is a more of one that is kind of here because of to basically save on time instead of having to turn on like 7 different smart plugs that just say turn on one, it turns on everything else. So it turns off unlimited power, which is so to prevent it from actually turning off, I mean to prevent it from turning on or off. Um, this one is pretty long, so and so with unlimited disk is it will it will turn off unlimited power. It will turn on Apple at ATEM. It'll turn on Sound Smart Plug, turn on TV, turn on Mac, turn on HDMI, turn on Cam plug, turns on uh there's supposed to be mini PC here, but I haven't actually added that yet, but because I had to redo some stuff. Turns on MacBook, turns on server, turns on there's mini PC, so it should be up there. This says turn on lab cam, turn on cap 1, turn on cap 2, and then turn on back cam, turn on air 2, and then switch the TV to like 2.4, and then turns on green light, turns on USB, turns on top 1, waits 22 seconds, and then it changes the input to PC3, which is my Mac, and wait a second. 22 seconds is there to like do another automation. I'll show you with my actual other thing, but first I'll actually get that ready when I do that. So, and then unlimited disk off is pretty much it will turn everything off. It will basically switch. It will turn off the desk and it'll switch this back on. So unlimited power would be ready again. Now, how all of this actions work, there's also this one, which is pretty much the same. It will do a rest command, stuff like that. So going to the scripts, this is where most of the stuff happens. So drive load or 0000 drive load starts a drive I have right here on my Mac. So it mounts book. Then I have one that's unload, which is pretty much this button right here. Then there is ecam underscore apple underscore TV underscore switch. I have this here because of it's called ecam because I was using this with ecam. Didn't feel like renaming these to OBS. But basically, with this one, is it will wait 16. It will do pause, but please wait. And all the ones that will say ecam switch on there will basically will be pretty much the same. It will be waiting 30 seconds. It'll do other stuff. So I'll show you an example of one that I did recently. This one. So this one, when um please wait runs, it will turn off overview, it'll turn off couch, it'll turn off all the ones that are specifically related to the other scenes. It'll wait 25 seconds. And so, and then it'll say turn on where, which is the smart plug related to VMware. And then it'll wait 2 seconds, which is how long it takes to like run the actual script or to like run the automation that I've been showing you because it takes 2 seconds to run it. Then it'll switch OBS to 03 underscore VM, which is a VMware hold scene for like this. It waits 3 seconds, then it turns to VMware scene. So in total, all of that is 30 seconds. So it takes 30 seconds to like switch completely for like each scene. So and plus these are basically tied to, and all of them are going to be this from this are all supposed to be tied like that, which is then will be so when I press this, I can start and switch and stuff like that, and then I can record them individually. And I can record them together, or I can basically have a record button by itself and record each of them individually since they could since I can then use this and switch between them. So going back here is HDMI laptop, which is this is my MacBook. So the scripts are nested for HDMI specifically, HDMI 1 is an input on my HDMI matrix. I mean, on my this is basically the HDMI switch. I mean, HDMI splitter I have. I mean, HDMI multi-view. This one basically is the one behind my TV that when I press this guy, it would press input number one, switch to my MacBook, which is over here. Input number two, I mean, so this one is Stream Deck XL4 because I had Stream Deck hooked up to like the Matrix, but I basically just use it for keyboard and mouse. But this one is just input number four for my keyboard and mouse. And the LG HDMI 2 Extra or Extended, or it's not input number two on my HDMI input, my HDMI TV that I have on my desk. Then number one, then HDMI 1 record. This one's a little different. This one is for when this one will go to ATEM1, which is on my capture card. And so this would basically switch inputs for that on the capture I have under my desk and behind my green screen. We get showed on what shows on this input will show on there. And since this is HDMI 1, when my TV switches to like that input, I can see inside OBS on my workstation Mac, and I can also see it inside of on my TV, so I can see it at the same exact time. Since I have my drawing tablet on most of the time, so I'll be ready to draw. I can basically just still actually see it there, and then it switches input number four. So this one is for the server, which is my home assistant VM machine server. This one's called VM because I was planning on getting another computer to act as VM host, but I'm just running that on my gaming computer now. So this one is just gonna be a a casting device because of I can cast to like that, but this one isn't needed anymore. So we can just take this guy. I'm modifying this while we're doing this, but this one 500, and so I'll take this. Okay, cool. So that's like how that is. And this one, which is my record Mac. So this one, you would basically capture my actual my main recording Mac. So I need to capture it on my actual on my workstation Mac. I can just to show some stuff, but um, if I need to do actually that, but it's switches to HDMI 1 something like that. So PC 1 is technically just it changes my input to HDMI 1, and then it changes it to X um um X X X underscore one, which this one's not technically used anymore because I just have it get pointed to actually this one instead. HDMI 1 just get pointed to like this one instead since it was that. PC2 is actually gets used, which is just goes to HDMI 1.2, waits 1 second, switches to Stream Deck XL2, and then PC HDMI 1, which is just the first HDMI input. And number three, number two TV pretty much just switches HDMI 2.2 and then Stream Deck XL2, even though I don't use the mouse on the TV unless I have to. And so then there's this one, which is PC3, switches this one, which is my 1.3 to my TV, and 4.3, which is my drawing tablet, to the same input. So when I'm doing some like drawing stuff, I would basically do it on here and it would show up there. And it would do number three, PC for HDMI for there. And then number three, work PC, which is just a totally different one. This one just doesn't have it switch the monitor to like there. I just have it so there. So on my other stream deck that I'll show to you, the like stuff there, why it's there. So, but that's just for the work related PC. Then this one, which is number four, just switches PC or input number 1 4, which is this TV, to an HM4 to my actual like this screen, so I can record there. But that's also just there temporary. The clear/restart, it basically deletes cores, of course, the core integration, all orphan entities using Spook, and it waits 1 minute, and then it restarts Home Assistant core to like get rid of any uh orphan stuff. Now this is Apple 0.0.0. Underscore Apple TV underscore TV. And so this one will turn on HDMI. Wait 2 seconds. Turn on HDMI 2.0, and then it would 2.4, which is my TV, and it will turn on bar power, which can technically just get gone now because of I had this on here because I was using a sound bar, but that just didn't turn on how like it, so I just unplugged it. So mouse one is basically nothing, but it uses the um uh Smart IR Blaster. This one does nothing. All they do nothing because this was what my mouse keyboard was on, but they weren't interfering with like other stuff. These ones don't interfere with stuff, but this is where my mouse keyboard is at. This is input number three. This is input number four on there because this is when I had Stream Deck pedal hooked up to it, a plus, an XL, and then my mouse keyboard. But the mouse keyboard started interfering with like other stuff. This one started interfering with other stuff, so I just put it on here, took everything off there, and just plugged it into the computers individually. And now this one, which is HM1. HM1 is basically just HDMI 3.1, which is my ATEM input. This is number two input. This one's not being used because it's being routed to other stuff. So this one is being used, which is to my TV, I mean to my game computer. This one being hooked up to my Mac Mini. This one's being hooked up to my Apple TV on input number three, so it goes directly to the ATEM. Input number five is ATEM1 with like the first input of my multi-view that's by my TV. This is for the input number two of the multi-view, three in a multi-view, four of the multi-view, and they all go to ATEM1. And then the app swipe, so um, app switch, app back, APTV back, Crunchyroll, down, fast forward. So this one basically just brings up this one just double clicks home, and this one basically swipes up and press back. So when you're on the Apple TV application, you can press this. It'll double click, and then it'll swipe it up. So it'll get rid of it. And so this on any app is like you press that button. I have it in a multi view on my Stream Deck. So and I have the Stream Deck so I can control that. So this is for back. This is for opening Crunchyroll. This is for fast forward. This is for the Fire application I have on my Apple TV. This is for basically high dive. Let's go to home. Let's go left. Let's go follow. Play and pause, rewind. Pretty much all the Apple TV stuff, YouTube. So bar power is nothing. So because this does nothing anymore. So then cam 1, 2, 3, and 4 are my cameras. Camera HDMI 2 is also HDMI 1, 2, 3 are also HDMI stuff. The it is actually the multi-view in the back. HDMI 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is my matrix. So all those are the matrix. The LG back bed. So the LG back one is for the TV at my desk. This one's for the one in front of my bed. So all these are for TV and bed and volume control. And then source one, source two, source three, and source four are, so this one goes to cam one, HM3, and then green one, which is a RESTful command that I have. All of that is here. And so now that you saw that, let me show you my actual Stream Deck stuff. So going back to here. So basically, here is my Stream Deck stuff. So if we go here, it is daily on, port on. So these are multi-action switches. So if I press this one, it turns on daily and it'll turn off daily. And if I turn on this one, it'll turn off record, turn on record. So daily just basically meant for daily work. This one is just for I'm just recording, and this one is meant for if I'm just needing to turn on my main monitor. This one is meant for if I need to just turn on my drawing tablet. This one is just for basically restarting Home Assistant and clearing out orphan files. This one turns on lights. This one turns on uh this one turns on this one turns on that light. This one turns on room light. And then this one turns on, this switches to PC1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. PC1 is basically my recording PC. PC2 is my game computer. PC3 is my Mac Mini. PC4 happens to be my MacBook Air. PC5 happens to be server. Either PC5 is either server or yeah, I don't remember this one. PC5 happens to be this one happens to be the PC5 happens to be um casting. PC6 is server. PC USB 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is basically input number one on my recording computer. This is for my game computer. This is for my Mac Mini, and this one's for my MacBook Air. This one turns on fan 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the fan beside my desk, the fan above my door, the fan um and that points by my ATEM and my documentation closet. Cap 1 is my capture card, capture 2 is my capture card, which is the ATEMs. And the sleep bud just does sleep. And so these are habits. So if I press record, it switches to the record input and it's replaced with the home button. If I press capture, it's replaced with the home button. I press the Apple TV remote, it goes to home. LG control, it replaced with home also. So let me show you. So if I go here, record. There's where the record button was. Has all my scenes for here. And so this one is kind of just if they need to be recorded independently, I can right there. But those might get deleted honestly because of I have them technically here. Um, and then there's capture, which is if we click on capture here, capture card input. These are the capture inputs for my ATEM. This is capture input 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is basically just all of the capture card stuff, and they're all related to ATEM. And so this one is just for my cameras and the sleep button. And then if you go here to the this is just all these icons were like custom made. So basically, this one's Crunchyroll, this one's HIDIVE, Philo, and YouTube. So if I press them, they would open. This opens up YouTube on my Apple TV. This opens up Philo on my Apple TV. This opens up HIDIVE. Same with this one. And then if I press TV here, it switches my main display to the Apple TV display. I mean the main display. It switches to 1.4 on my main screen. And then this is the up down fast forward rewind settings fire button for when I want to just have a fire on the screen, and then this allowed me to close the application and swipe up, volume control of the TV, and the sleep button. And so they go to LG, they're more red. So these are the setting buttons. This is the setting button for my TV. This is the back button for the TV. This is the exit button for the TV. This is okay. And then um, or enter, volume up. I mean, like up, down, left to right, volume up, volume down, and all that's on there. So if we go down, and this one's called Surface because it's Surface Control. So now if we go to where it says Menu, which is one in my closet. So this one is, if it just has a sleep button, it has unbox, which means when I press this, it goes to the unbox scene on um OBS, and it would basically then allow me to press it and it'll stop it. So now for the Stream Deck, which is the one beside my bed, this one has this one has um um just TV, and then the Apple TV remote control and LG remote control and for vegetables. And then there's that, and that's all the stream that I have on this computer. Now, going back to the Stream Deck for my on my on my workstation Mac. So this is the one I have on my workstation Mac. So this one is OBS on, OBS off. And if you look at them, they have different icons. So start will basically start OBS recording and stop. This one is PC3. So this one basically changes it. This changes to work PC without changing the monitor, my drawing tablet. And then input number one is my recording Mac. Input number two is my server, which is server record. They both have recording in. Input number three has um laptop record, which is my MacBook, and mirror, which is just for mirroring. But it says VM, but I'm not renaming all those again. So here, right here, you see I have volume control, which is for LG, which is for my LG TV that I'm on right now. This one controls the mic volume of an OBS. This controls the headphone audio inside of headphone audio and headphone audio and stream audio inside of here, inside of Wavelength. And this one controls my mic audio mute and unmute. So other than that, that's all that has there. So now I'm going to show you, because I showed you that, I'll show you both the Home Assistant, not Home Assistant, Keyboard Maestro, but I'm going to have to readjust it just so it doesn't show the actual URL. So just uh, just so it can't be randomly accessed. So readjusting, but basically, this is just the actual server thing. So basically, this is just me being no, we're showing you some stuff. So basically, here's this one. This one, which is called Ecamm Open, it will open up Wavelength. It will open up my folder called Volume Record Main, Volume Record Short. It does weights on there, and then it would basically open OBS. It'll do this keystroke using Moon. Moon will rearrange my files, rearrange it so I can see it properly. So it's arranged properly. But my only issue with that is the only reason it does this like this is because it does it inside of Home Assistant. So if we go to the one that is called Quit, Ecamm Quit, this one will wait. This one will basically quit, quit. Um, wavelength. It will center the Finder window. It will close the Finder window, and it will do this to make sure it's closed because it sometimes reopens itself. Then there is arrange. Arrange basically just rearranges it. And then there is start. Start one will basically open an app called Start with the start with app forward slash application forward slash app forward slash space forward slash start dot app is. When you double click it, it just creates an application called it just creates a folder called start.txt and an app called icon in text called app.txt, then it'll delete. That's all it does. So the reason it does that is so when that opens, it would basically just run the open eCam. And then the start, then like the stop one, which is basically the same exact thing. It will create a stop one and it'll stop recording. And then drive load. So this one will just load drive space mount.app. This one will raise, this will open, um, this will this will open that right there. So yeah, so that's just that one. This one's on my recording Mac, so I'll show you the wall stuff I have on my workstation Mac. So this is my one automation I have called Huion, because for my Huion my Huion Canvas 20. So it opens the Huion Canvas app because of the application doesn't like because the tablet doesn't work once the application is open, and it doesn't open cleanly. So what I have it does when the Stream Deck application opens, it would open Huion Canvas application, wait 8 seconds, closes the Stream Deck app, and then waits 4 seconds and closes the Huion Canvas tablet. Because if I have it so Huion tablet opens, and then I close and then I basically hide the Stream Deck app, and then try to like close the Stream Deck app, the Huion Canvas app shows up, so I had to reverse it. So the next one I have is called Ecamm on this one. So what this one does is when Wavelink is on, when Wavelink opens, it will I mean when like the wave triggering it does this thing, it will open the Wavelink gap, wait 3 seconds, and it does an if command. So the if command is if all following is true, so record mod night, and it will execute the following action, which is none. But it says otherwise it would if basically if it will do another if statement, which is if all the following are true, WeDeathMod record WeDeathMod and Night are not mounted. It will then run this application, which is drive mount book. And so it will do this. But if it does, but it will basically otherwise it will not do the action. But if it basically is already mounted, it won't do it. It will not do an action, and it will skip it, and it will wait 10 seconds. Open OBS, wait 4 seconds, and then it will open record forward slash work underscore PC, and then we'll wait 3 seconds, and then it'll do the moon command. Then off, which is a different one, it will quit OBS, quit Elgato Wavelength, wait 2 seconds, move it to the center, then quit Finder after waiting 2 seconds. Now here's the one that is a part of the command I've worked on before. So this one it will open the application Presentify. And it will wait 3 seconds, and it will do the shell command, which is default right .com.apple finder create desktop false, which will hide the desktop icons. And then it will then change the wallpaper from my wallpaper to black, and it has a white square, and that's for like recording purposes. And then it will kill a Finder, which then it will then refresh Finder, and it will basically have no icons. It will close Finder, and then it will basically um, do the F10 keystroke. I mean the control command. I mean control Alt F10, which is the keystroke to hide personify now. I have it set so to with like toolbar, and then it will do the show, which will if I'm when I'm done, it'll do the which will create a Finder desktop true, which will restore the desktop icons, change it from to back to the background I had as normally. It will kill off Finder, close Finder, um, um, then it will do Control Alt Options F9, which is to like quit or to like hide the toolbar for like Presentify. Then it will quit Presentify just so it's not running. And that's all of the applications I have that are there. Now, let me show you my actual Stream Deck. Not Stream Deck. I'll show you the Stream Deck last. The actual physical Stream Deck on how it looks afterwards. So, but now I'm going to show you how I have OBS set up. Okay. So let me just show you my the one that's on this Mac, and I'll show you my recording PC one. Afterwards, I'm not using this to record the OBS side setup on like either of them right now, but this is just for when I want to do OBS stuff. Showing you guys, I'm just because it's not fully complete yet, but yeah. So let me get again. So this is my OBS setup on my workstation Mac. So you'll see what you're seeing now is not my actual Mac I'm recording. This is not my this is not recording. This is not the Mac thing is my recording PC Mac, but the one I'm recording on is my workstation PC Mac. So basically, let me just show you the stuff for here. So how it would normally be set up is if we go to here in OBS, I just have mine set up differently. I'm just going to show you how I have mine set up. Normally, your audio bar would be over in this area in horizontal, but I have mine over here because it takes up less screen real estate, and I still would like to view the audio levels. So how that looks, and then looks like this, and this guy. This is how it looks. But and it wouldn't look like this would fill up the whole screen. But basically, what I have it set up is I have a camera. This camera has a what's that thing called? A image mask on here that basically I'm centered side of the sorry about the noise. So if I'm centered right here, it will usually be right here, and you'll see the camera right here. And so this is just an image mask on here that just cuts out everything because the square itself is white, and then everything else is in black. So OBS doesn't show anything in black, but it does show stuff in white, which happens to be this circle. And I fit my camera to here, and you see the screen good compatibility, which I can actually cut out if I wanted to, which I usually do in my other stuff. Then I have the camera here, which is another capture card, differently I have hooked on down there. So and then I import it in here. So over here, this is another capture card I have here. And so if I'm on this scene, you wouldn't be able to hear what I'm saying, but you can hear me because I'm screen recording it. But if you see here, it's picking up my voice, even though right there. And so normally, how I have it set up is I go settings, And then I have my audio go here, recording. I have it set to the spot I want to. I have it set to MKV. If you want to, with like no version OBS, you can have it set to hybrid MP4 or hybrid MOV, which means you can have it for easier editing with like MP4 since most audio video softwares don't use MKV. But if you just want to use MKV, because MKV is just there, just so if your video does crash, you basically don't lose everything. But if MP4 crashes, you just get corrupted. But the hybrid MP4 is supposed to prevent that. But the MKV, I just have it set to, I have it set to hardware encoder. Then this is on Mac specifically, but then I go to here, automatically remap MP4. That's how I get an MP4 for editing if I need to edit or make it too short. And then from there, um, I have the video set to this resolution right here, 1080p. You can set this to 60. I have it set to 30 since most stuff I record is in 30, but most of the like video I watch is in 60. So, and then after that, good audio. I usually have it set like this because I set disable all audio. So, and I add my audio into the scene I'm using, so each scene can have their own specific audio. So my microphone happens to be Wavelength. In this on this computer, Wavelength I have, which is literally just this microphone. So, and then the camera, which is just a nested scene from camera right here. Screen is a different scene, so and no worry, the colors don't look all like this. It doesn't look washed out like this. The reason it looks washed out is because one, the color space on the A10 is kind of weird when it comes to like using a um a HDMI when you have it hooked up to a matrix and you have it hooked up to like some splitters to strip HDCP, you have an issue with the basically the actual color space for some reason. I figured out how to fix that. But this is basically because going through a splitter, going through a stripper, and HDMI matrix, and then to the ATEM, and then into another capture card. And that's one reason it's washed out. Because the like pink you see here that looks hot pink, more of a darker pink, and this blue is more of a light blue. This is more of a light. This is more of a darker blue, but this is more purple. This is more of a light green. This is supposed to be the color scheme of Mac OS, of the older Mac OS. I think it was. I don't remember the name right now, but and this green is more of a lighter green, and my face is this washed out on like the A10. So, but then how I have it set normally is if I go here, get rid of toolbar, your source toolbar, get rid of source icons. Then I go to dock, get rid of scenes, and sources, get rid of transitions, and I get rid of controls. The only one I keep is the actual um, audio and status bar mainly for like the specific setup because of it shows me the like status bar down here, the like status of like CPU, and if I'm going at 30, and if I'm recording or if I'm streaming. And if I'm streaming, which just happened on my recording slash streaming PC, it happens over there. So from there, I just have this like this. So this is the view I see, and the view you see is the screen. And so I normally, if I'm basically just scan, if I'm just doing workstation stuff, or if I'm trying to capture the computer you're seeing this on, I use the PC that you're viewing. So when I'm viewing, well, like you're viewing to like see me actually capture the screen I usually capture on, which is the one that says record. The one I have says workstation. That's my workstation that I'm trying to usually capture. But what I'm capturing now is the record PC with the workstation. So and so what you're seeing, we usually have OBS in here, and other stuff, and there wouldn't be a camera here. But the reason I have this here is if I'm trying to capture any of the other four inputs that I can show, that if I showed you, I can basically switch between them using my Stream Deck. And so this one would just be black, but it would switch my input to number. It will switch my TV to input number 4. And then if I do this one to input number 3, it switches to workstation, which happens to be my MacBook Air. But I'm gonna basically change the wallpaper to a laptop. Fancy, I actually make these. So and if I switch input number 4, it's changing it to production or my um, computer. And then this one basically switches it to my recording computer, which is my Mac. Which, as you can saw before, that's the one it was already on. But basically, it also makes it um so it shows up on my main screen. If we press number 3 again, or PC3, it basically switches my main input back to input number 3, and it leaves whatever was on there. So right. So going, I'm going to show you the next one, which is my recording computer. But I'm going to show you that through a virtual machine. I mean, not virtual machine. Through screen sharing because I don't feel like having to like mess with the actual microphone and stuff like that on there. So yeah. So next part. So this is how I have my setup record look like on on here. So basically, it's not how you just set up. I'm gonna go through all of my scenes on like how I have them, and then I'll show you how the final representation is. So, okay, so in here is I have a couple. I'll show you my vertical sources, my vertical scenes first, which is basically they all have pretty much a logo or bug in there, and then overlay wood, then camera border or camera or surfer camera border camera, uh, MD player 1 and 2 screen, and also these ones are mainly aimed at if I'm also recording a actual Yu-Gi-Oh video, like a Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel video, on like YouTube, someone basically doing that. It'll also fix their actual recording. It'll fix their setup so it shows inside of my stuff like how I would usually play Master Duel. But basically, first thing I have is start scene. Start scene is basically it doesn't look like this reason. It looks like this because I rearrange everything on how it usually is set up. Normally these are down here. The vertical is also down here too. I installed the vertical plugin because that's all I really use. But this one is this one. So it just lets you know all of the source videos. I mean all of the main scenes. So like start is the same exact one as here. I designed all of my assets to basically so if I put them into the vertical scene, it would fit for vertical perfectly. It might be off center just a little bit in like some of them, but that's just basically me using some kind of template. So basically, this is my horizontal scene right here. This is my vertical scene. The vertical is basically just a copy of the horizontal in there with everything in there. So the start has the um just a start image in there. The main one, which is which is pretty much the same as that as a start, but just with like just just has a home in there for like them to be main that I have in there, which is just the main chatting, which is basically chatting with like a camera. Camera icon has been custom made, and um icon been custom made. Chatting. The VM1, which is the VMware icon, actually wasn't made. It was just one I found on the internet. This one is one that I just cropped it and stuff and like made it transparent, but it's basically the same as vertical, but in horizontal. Uh, then there is start scene. Then there's that. There's Apple TV, which is just Apple logo on top of here, on top of that logo there. There's Draw One. This one was actually a custom made palette using Keynote. And then this one right here, Master Duel is also made with Keynote. So most of these icons are like made with Keynote, other than the Apple TV one and then the VMware one. And this icon was drawn with Photoshop. But this one was made with the Keynote um and the graphics were made with Keynote other than the icon that was drawn with Photoshop. And so it was looks like this and it looks like this in vertical. So when in desk is so the difference between this TV and desk is the same icon here. One says TV, one says desk, and I could have basically made it together by saying TV or desk, but I just decided to have two different ones. And there's the unbox one, which is a custom made unbox icon. Um, and then it has a my icon popping out. Then there's talk scene, which is just this scene you see now. But the camera doesn't actually look this bad. It only looks this bad because I'm actually going through screen share and I'm recording that way, so my lips aren't really this authentic. Then there's the number 10, which is VM scene, which is just my head camera chopped off, and it doesn't look like this. It only looks like this because I actually show you all of the scenes. If I because this one, the VM scene, I think basically is outside of there, if I recall correctly. This one is the Apple TV. This one is the draw scene. Oh yeah, this one actually isn't supposed to be like this one. This one is actually supposed to be. This one is supposed to be modified a bit because I actually because I have to remake this one. I have to crop it down and then I have to the reason and this one isn't completely done. This one isn't done because I messed up my scene by basically having to. I messed it up because I moved it and I can't undo the source move moving it here because if I go edit undo, it would basically edit undo what's inside of the main canvas instead of what's over here. So I have to figure out how to fix that. But other than that, here's the Apple TV one. So it is more of the same. The draw one is a little different. This one I modified properly because this was the one I thought I was editing when I was editing the VM one, but I wasn't. So this one is a full scene. So this one, if my capture card was actually being detected properly, it would be it would show my it would show basically everything on the screen and like the little other assets of part of here like the mini icon here and here and stuff like that. This one pretty much looks exactly the same, but it's the one with my camera in the center, and it would be usually life points under here and over here. Then my unboxing, which is technically everything but upside down. Oh yeah, I know why this isn't working properly because I have a another thing, and this one is just the one I have made from Roundup, which is basically just voice, but which is just a video for me talking over when I'm on here. So because this one doesn't have like a camera, so instead of it me just having it go back to instead of it going to this scene for actually talking like I would do on this one, it 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 would be kind of weird because no one would be sitting in the chair. So I basically decided to make this one that that just turns around, and then the please wait one, which is just please wait, and just shows the other graphics overlay and stuff like that. It disappears. Also, if you notice on all of these except for that one, this one has a live bod, which is basically these get because this is for streaming and live streaming. I mean, this is for live streaming and recording. The reason why it says live VOD because of that would get recorded and it would also be a VOD, so video on demand. And so there's the scene, which is basically just for screen, which is just for my capture card. This one has nothing tied to it. This has nothing tied to it. This one's just my camera. This is just a camera without the overlay. This is a camera with just the green screen cutout. This one is with the um background. This is the wood background I have that I have used on them. This is the overlay for that you see right that she on all of them. The bug is just that one. Here's just the logo, and then my mic input right here, which is just um for my Wave XLR. If we go for here, this is where all of my audio input goes, and if we press this here, it picks up audio now. But if you press it here, no audio. And so this basically picks up for my ATEM that has audio. This basically picks up a notification sound from the Stream Deck. So if I decide to play Final Fantasy, I can. So when I play back a video, it's when I play back video on YouTube. So yeah, all of that. So um, now I'll show you how my Stream Decks look when I'm actually physically pressing them. Well, I'm not going to show you all their effects, but I'm just going to show you what they look like instead of just showing you through their software. So, hope you like that so far. So, hope you stick around for the last part. Now, but in my recording area, so this is what the Stream Deck here looks like. So, there's the sleep button, there's the little unbox button. This is the Stream Deck Plus. The Stream Deck MK2 I have. So if you press it, there's the icons. There's this icon. There's this icon. So if you press this one, it takes me to here. If you press this one, it closes my open window on my TV. This switches this TV right here in front of me, and from my bed into the Apple TV. If I press this, it goes home. If we press this guy, it takes me to the remote for my LG TV. This is the OK button, so all that like that. The reason why there's a 1 on here because I had multiple Stream Decks here, and so I was just name labeling them 1 and stuff like that. And so next is the Stream Deck Plus. Here's the Stream Deck Plus, and so basically these are the custom icons. So if we take this, it adjusts the volume on this TV. So if this just adjusts the volume inside OBS. This one is just the audio for the output, and this one is the output for the microphone. This is input number 1. So if you press input number 1, what you saw in OBS change was this. So if we press this, got input number 1, it changes it to that one there. And if we press input number 2, it changes it to my production window computer. If we press input number 3, it takes me to my MacBook, which needs a custom wallpaper, but I have to remake another one. So then there's a mirror. Mirror does nothing right now since there's nothing hooked up to right now, but you can see that what it looks like. So, and if we basically just press PC3, it takes me back to my workstation. And then if you press this one, it opens up. I guess I can press it. I don't know if it's open. Let me check. Oh, it's not open. So let's see. So now let's try it. Let me show you. So if we press this guy, where my finger's at, it opens with the Keyboard Maestro. And you can even tie this into Home Assistant if you wanted to. So basically, let me just show you how it's supposed to be. So it didn't work because of. So there you go. So that's what happened. So it didn't close all the way. So basically, since we were using Wavelink, it didn't open all the way. So now if we press this, it opens Wavelink. So it opens Wavelink, and then it opens OBS. Then it opens Finder, rearranges it like so. And then if we press this again, and as you can see, the icon is custom. So if you press this, so it closes. So now let me show you. Give me a second. My TV had an update, so now let me just show you my Stream Deck that I use for control of my recording computer. So my actual main recording computer. So basically, if you press daily on, it turns on just a couple things. If you press recording on, it turns on all the stuff. If you press monitor on, it just turns on the monitor and some other stuff. And I don't have it all. So if we press tablet on, it turns on my drawing tablet. If we press restart, it restarts Home Assistant and clears the orphan files. And if we press this guy, which is desk light, which is the lights up here, room light, which is light behind me, PC 1 through 6, basically switches between each PC with like keyboard and mouse. So if we basically press 1, it switches it to that computer over here. If we switches it to 2, it switches it to the gaming computer over there. If we switch it to 3, it switches it to this computer. And then number 4 switches it to my laptop here. Number 5 switches it to my the one you see right here, that's nothing. And then number 6 switches it to my server, and number 1 switches it to the computer, 2 mouse, 3 to that computer, 4 to my MacBook. And then fan 1 through 4 turns on the fan there in the closet area, and then the one behind me over there. And then the capture turns on the capture cards, and then the actual sleep button just sleeps. And so now if we go to capture, and as you can see, when I move it, it goes through actually there. We have all those here. It just switches the inputs of the ATEM to like there. Now this one just is the remote for the Apple TV. They're all nice and custom. I tried to mimic the Apple TV remote because this is the Apple TV remote. It's black, white, and gray. But I just didn't use any white. I just used black. The only white I used is on the TV part. And so if we press the number 2, if we press TV, you switch what's on like this one onto here. And so this guy is just the volume. So if we basically press the volume for this guy, turns up the volume there. And if we mute it, it mutes it. And then we have the LG remote itself, which does the same exact thing on this TV, but is for this TV. We have one for over there. And then if we press home on all these, so if we, for example, press LG, where the LG logo was, is there's the home logo. If we press it, it's back there. If we press it here, it's there. If we press here, it takes a LG, it takes a home here, moves LG here. So if you look, it's just because it's how I set it up. So basically, if we press here and then here, it takes you back to the home. If you press here, it takes you there. So just to make it easier, instead of either pressing home here to like go to all of them, I just had it so it was in the same exact spot, because to make it kind of look cohesive, all these icon colors are custom that I made. So from here, and if you notice, some of them, like these icons, are in the same order here. But if you go to record, they're in opposite directions. So for example, some of these are in opposite directions. For example, like these ones, mainly because of I wanted it to look kind of different. This one is the only non-different one because I just, since this was the only one of its kind at the time, not kind. So since this, I wanted this to match this to match this to match that, and these are the only separate ones on there that didn't have their own thing. But since I totally redesigned it how it is, these are the only ones gonna be up here. This was gonna move up here. This is gonna move down here, and this one is going. These are three gonna be gone, because these were, if you press this one, it turns on the VMware Smart Plug. If you turn on this one, it turns on the other smart plug, which is Couch. This one turns on the other one, which is Overview. But and since I basically redesigned it, Overview, Couch, and Where doesn't do anything specifically anymore. So, because how I had it was, when you press this one, it basically could do individual recording. Press this does individual recording, this does individual recording. I had that for like one of each of these. But since I basically just redesigned it, so if I press start here, it will start streaming and recording, and I can just switch between here. And since it basically makes the shorts basically kind of different, it will be kind of different like that. But I also forgot to show you in the last part how I have OBS set up in the end. So normally I just disable scenes. I disable sources. I disable scene transition. I disable vertical scenes, vertical sources, and vertical vertical transitions, controls. I also disable toolbar. I disable source toolbar, dock toolbar, source icons, which makes it look like this. Then I take this and move it all the way to the left, so to keep it locked like this. And so when I basically, when I go to scenes, so I go, and then I have it start here at start 1. So now when I normally start the scene, it ends up like this. And so normally that's how I would have it start. What I would ideally like to do is basically somehow have my start bar, like the audio bar, somehow over here, under here, kind of. I would totally like that, but the problem is, if I have it just here, it takes up so much real estate. So, and if you go back to here, down to scenes, it's on this one with an actual audio track, it looks like this. So if we go here and then make it vertical, that works out perfectly fine. But basically, if we go to go to here, right here. It's how it looks. And so now all we got to do is go to 0 scenes, and it looks like this, which is a lot better and a lot bigger. So, but my issue I have is that's the only issue I have is that it's nice, but basically when you set it up so it would basically just be kind of like a single thing like this, it still eats up a lot of space. So normally I usually have wavelength right here, and so I can't have it much bigger than this. And so I would have it like this. And so that's how I would have it, honestly, but I can't have it much smaller than that, mainly because of it is kind of pushing it. So yeah, that's the way I would honestly have it. Like this would be kind of ideal, but then I have to figure out how to put like 2 recordings on there. So like I would have to do this. Like this is how I would have it, honestly. I would have to have it something like this. And then kind of hoping I can actually have something like this. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I hope you liked it. And this was a long time video made to record all of this stuff. It took about 6 months, I would say. It took a while, so just almost done editing it after I'm recording this part. This was the final part, and the parts you saw before was basically have been fixed, other than the part about the little icon part that I was just talking about, like the OBS thing, because that is going to be fixed after the end of this video. So, talk to you later. Bye.